So students, let's begin today with a very common topic, that is the gerund. Very few of you must be aware of this topic because in schools from 6 to 10 we never read or study gerund, but in language, in writing we use it. Okay, but know very little about what a gerund is. So before I begin with the topic gerund, first, I would like you to see an example and then decide and learn what a gerund is, because seeing is believing. So when I say reading is his favorite pastime, here in this sentence the word reading is formed from the verb read by adding ing. Okay, we also see that it is here used as the subject of a verb and hence does the work of a noun. It is therefore a verb noun and is called a gerund. So any verb which ends in ing but it does the work of a noun is called a gerund. Clear? Any form of the verb, any verb which ends in ing and does the work of a noun will be called a gerund. Let's see some more examples. When I say playing cards is not allowed here, second sentence, I like reading poetry, third sentence, he is fond of hoarding money. In all these three sentences, we see different uses of gerund. In the first sentence, playing cards is not allowed here. The verb play, which ends in ing, has been used as the subject of the verb. Okay, so it here does the work of a noun. And in the second sentence, I like reading poetry. The verb read, which ends in ing, does the work of a noun and it is used as the object of the sentence. In the third sentence also, the verb hoarding is governed by a preposition, but like a verb it also takes an object. Okay, so any verb which ends in ing but which does the work of a noun in the sentence either as a subject or as a object, it will be called a gerund. So after studying so many examples, we can draw a conclusion that a gerund is that form of a verb which ends in ing and has the force of and has the force of a noun. But one thing that is to be kept in mind is that we should never get confused when we are using the verb with ing as the verb in the sentence. When I say I am playing cricket, here I am using the verb playing as the verb, not as a noun. But when I say playing cricket is a favorite pastime of mine, then I am using playing as the subject of the verb and it will be used here as a noun. So playing cricket, here playing will be the gerund. Okay, so we should never get confused in whether we are using the verb as a verb or as a noun. So in any sentence, when the verb with ing is used as a noun, either as a subject or as the object of the verb, it will be a gerund. Got it? Now let us now come to know how a gerund is very close to a infinitive. We must all be aware what an infinitive is. We use to as the infinitive. Okay, and as both the gerund and the infinitive have the force of a noun and a verb, they have the same uses. Okay, thus in many sentences, either of them may be used without any special difference in meaning. So gerund and infinitive can be used as similar, and when we use a gerund in place of an infinitive, it doesn't make any difference, and when we use a gerund in place of an infinitive, it doesn't make a big difference. So I may say, when I say teach me to swim, here in this sentence, to is the infinitive, and after that we have written the verb swim. So here to has been used as an infinitive, and I can say the same statement in the gerund like this: teach me swimming. Here the verb ends with ing, and it has been used as the object of the verb teach. Okay, one more example to prove the same point: to give is better than to receive. Here again, to give and to receive are the examples of infinitive. Okay, and I can say the same statement in the gerund like this: giving is better than receiving. Giving has been used here as the subject, and receiving has been used here as the object. So they do the work of a noun, because subject can be either a noun or a pronoun. Giving and receiving are not pronouns, so they can be a noun. That's why they are called gerund. Okay. Do you want some more example? Okay. One more example. To see is to believe. Here, to see and to believe are the infinitive, and I can say the same statement in gerund like this: seeing is believing. Seeing is believing. Okay, so seeing and believing are the examples of gerund here, because they act as the noun, so they are called verbal nouns. Gerund is called a verbal noun because it has the effect of a verb and does the work of a noun in the sentence. Now let us take some examples which are of compound gerunds, like I heard of his having gained a prize. Here the words having gained is the example of compound gerund forms. One more example: we were fatigued on account of having walked so far. Okay, here in this sentence, having walked is the example of compound gerund forms. Okay, one more example: he is desirous of being praised. In this sentence also being placed is the example of compound gerund forms because being ends in ing and being here has been used as the noun. So after studying these three sentences, we draw a conclusion that compound gerund forms are formed by placing a past participle after the gerunds of have and be. The gerund of a transitive verb has the following forms: in active voice and in passive voice. In present, in active, loving is the gerund form of present in active, and it will be a gerund form in passive like this: being loved. Being loved will be the passive form of gerund loving. Of perfect, having loved. Having loved will be the perfect gerund form in active, but in passive it will be having been loved. Clear? Because in active voice, whenever ing form is used in the sentence, in passive voice, we add being after the helping verb, and the ing is removed from the main verb, from the first form of the verb, and the first form is changed into third form. So, if we are using loving in the sentence, then the passive voice of the sentence will be being loved. Okay, and in the perfect, when we are using having loved, the passive voice of the sentence will be having been loved. Okay, now a very important thing to be kept in mind is that both present participle and the gerund are similar because they both of them end in ing, and we often get confused whether the verb with ing is a participle or it's a gerund. So we should be very much careful in writing and in finding out whether the verb which ends in ing is a participle or a gerund. So now let us know what a difference is there between a participle and a gerund. The gerund has the force of a noun and a verb. It is a verbal noun. While the present participle has the force of an adjective and a verb, so it is a verbal adjective. Okay. So a gerund is called a verbal noun because it has the force of a noun and a verb, while the present participle has the force of an adjective and a verb, so it is called a verbal adjective. Okay, now let us see some sentences in which let us try to distinguish between the gerund and the present participle. So when I say reaching home, I washed my face, and reading a book of history interests me a lot. In the first sentence, reaching home, I washed my face suggests that when I reached home, I washed my face. So here in the first sentence, reaching has been used as the present participle and it does the work of an adjective because it suggests something about the action. And in the second sentence, reading a book of history interests me a lot. Reading has been used here as the noun. So reaching will be the present participle and reading in the second sentence will be an example of a gerund. Okay, some more examples. Let us first take the examples of gerund because you will definitely require more and more examples to distinguish between a gerund and a participle. It is very difficult to distinguish between them, but I hope that after studying the examples which I am citing here, it will be easier for you to distinguish between them. So when I say he is fond of playing cricket, my mother was tired of cooking. We were prevented from seeing the prisoner. And seeing is believing, which we have already seen in the beginning. These four are the examples of gerund. Now let us cite some examples of present participle also. The first sentence, playing cricket he gained health. Second sentence, walking along the road he noticed a dead cobra. And the third sentence, seeing he believed. So, in the examples of gerund, playing after fond of has been used as a noun. My mother was tired of cooking. Here in this second sentence, cooking has been used as a noun, and we were prevented from seeing the prisoner. Here, seeing has been used as a noun, and seeing is believing. Both seeing and believing are used as the noun in the fourth sentence. But in the examples of present participle, playing cricket, he gained health. Playing has been used as the adjective here in the first sentence. Playing cricket. It means he played cricket, then he gained health. So playing has been used here as the adjective because it qualifies the pronoun he. Walking along the road, he noticed a dead cobra. Here, the verb walking has been used as the adjective. Okay, because it suggests some mode. Okay, and seeing he believed. It means first he saw, then he believed. So it has been used here as the adjective. Okay. So this is the difference between an adjective between a present participle and gerund. Now let us come to the use of the gerund, which is an important part of this chapter. Okay, first, a gerund being a verb noun may be used as the subject of a verb. For example, seeing is believing, walking is a good exercise, eating sugar is not good for us. In all these three sentences, we have used the gerund as the subject of the sentence. Gerund can also be used as the object of a transitive verb. For instance, stop writing, start reading the chapter. Children love making sandcastles, or children love making paper boats. Okay, here in the three sentences, stop is the transitive verb after which we have used the gerund writing. In the second sentence, start reading the chapter. Start is the transitive verb, and after which we have used the gerund form reading. Children love making paper boats. Here, love is the verb, transitive verb after which we have used the gerund making. So, writing, reading, and making in all these three sentences are the objects of the verb stop, start, and love. So, gerund can also work as an object. Now, the gerund can also be used as the object of a preposition. For example, when I say I'm tired of walking, she is fed up of listening to the same track. He was punished for telling a lie. In these three sentences, we have used the gerund walking, listening, and telling after a preposition of, and for. So here they are using, so here they are acting as the object of the preposition. Okay. Another use of gerund is that gerund can be used as the complement of a verb. For instance, when I say seeing is believing, then what I most detest is smoking. My favorite hobby is gardening. Here in all the three sentences, the verb believing, smoking, and gardening, they have been used after the helping verb is, and here they are working as the complement of the verb is. Okay. Another use of gerund is that it can be used absolutely. Playing cards being his aversion, we did not play bridge. One more example to prove the same fact. Smoking being harmful for the smoker as well as for others is prohibited. So these are the uses of gerund. I hope you must have understood about what a gerund is, and you must have also become aware about the difference between a present participle and the gerund, and we have also seen how infinitive can be used in place of a gerund. Okay, and we have also seen when can a gerund be used. That a gerund can be used as the subject of the sentence, it can be used as the object of the verb, it can be used as the object of a preposition, it can be used as the complement of a verb, and can be used absolutely. Okay, so if still you have any doubt, you can ask, okay, online. Thank you, and goodbye.